Okay, now we're ready to continue with the flower. This has been sitting for 24 hours, but it's been under a heat lamp, so it's pretty dry. This is what I meant when I said tip it out onto tissues. Once you've dried that for one day, you tip it out onto tissues carefully, and that means this surface then can dry instead of being kept in the bowl. You need to dust off any leftover corn flour that's on the back because we need to be able to attach the next lot of petals. I've given this a quick dust with some gold dusting powder, and that's about ready to go. So you can see it's all nice and dry and stable. It's quite hard. So I'm just going to put that down there. Now I've already rolled out 2 extra layers of the petals cut with the large cutter, so I'm not wasting your time watching me do that. Just put one on. Again, remember it's not too much water. This one on, and this time I've really stretched them out because they're going to have to go a lot further. Just put them up there for now. Again, remember doing it so that the round of the flower is over the gap of the previous flower. I'll do that for now. Okay, now I'm just going to turn the camera off because I'm going to show you where it's going to go on top of the cake. Before we do, you also need a small ball of the same fondant, the flour paste. And you'll need your manipulation tool so you can fold through petals, and you'll also need the brush with some water because you'll need to fold these into position. Actually, in fact, I might put both layers on now. So this is going to take both. Sometimes I only need one if it's a smaller one, and then I just break off some extra petals if I need extra, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, so that's ready to go. Just turn the camera off. Okay, this is the top surface of my cake. It's a double height 6-inch round present cake. What I'm going to do is, this is the front of the cake. So I'm just going to have to keep turning the turntable. I'm just going to position my ball where I actually want the flower to sit. So it's just a small amount of water on the base. And now I need to just wet the top because this is how I'm going to position the flower. Okay, so now you can see that's the center, front center. The other thing I'm going to do is I've made a gift tag that goes with this design. So I'm going to put that in position so that if any flowers fold over, it's going to look quite natural. So it's going to go like that. I'll move that back just a little bit. Fit everything in. Okay, now what I'm going to do is a little bit of moisture on the back center of the flower. We've finished, and basically the ball holds it up into position and you press down. Now you can see all the flowers, the petals falling down. Don't stress, not a problem. This is where your water and your manipulation tool comes in. So all you're doing, you're just gluing into position. They don't always stay first time. Sometimes you have to come around and play around with them a bit. So I'll just use that. Don't put too much pressure on that actual flower there because it will break. Now, to hide what's going on, I don't know if I've got the right angle for. To hide what's going on into here, you put moisture here because you need to glue, you press up, and then you fold that down, and that's actually going to keep those petals up. That one's fallen down, but we're going to lift this one up and curl that petal underneath there. Okay, a little bit of moisture, a little bit of a curl. So really these last 2 layers are just sort of like supporting the flower, but then making the flower look like you've actually made it all in one piece at the same time. Let's go around the other side. That needs to stay up. This one needs to come up. Oops, sorry, I think I'm out of view for you, sorry. Now this one. So you do need to work quite quickly with this, because otherwise these petals are going to dry on you and you won't be able to bend them. So you can see how easy this is, and you still end up, just need to press this in. We're being a little bit stubborn. I think this one here could be lifted a little bit. Don't know if I'm... So that can come up, and this can come up, and that can just push under there. Just a little bit. Same with you. So this one's looking too big, so let's fold it in underneath a little bit, or up. Get rid of that edge there. And I've got to come back and gold dust these as well, which I could have done before I put them on. So once I'd smoothed them out and given them the ruffled edges like we did yesterday, I could have then gold dusted them. But I find that gives me a powdery surface, and sometimes the petals won't stick. So I don't dry dust them, I liquid dust them. I only do the very edges. Just push. Make sure nothing's fallen down that you had up there. I think this one could sit up here a bit more moisture. So you just play around for a little bit, it doesn't take very long. A little bit of pressure. And try and keep the round shape. I think you almost need another petal to come out here. And I could do with another one that fits in there, so I'm going to roll some more paste, cut out the large one again, feather them out, and I'm just going to break off two petals and put them in there. And I think I could have one coming out of here, because it's just a little bit rough, a little bit square on that edge of the present. So I'll do that, I'll go and roll it out, and I'll come back and show you the finished result. Okay, you can see I've added two extra petals in underneath here, and you just wet top and bottom of the bit that's going inside, and then you push it up in and use a little bit of pressure to press it in up against the other flower petals. So that's all just going to hold that all together. The other thing I was talking about before when we were making is that these top petals will drop down. Because this was dried really hard overnight, these aren't collapsing. So normally you get a little bit of these top layers coming back, which just gives you that little softness as well. Still works either way, so if you don't have time, you need to make them ahead of time, don't worry. Now this is where I wanted to put that extra little petal in. So this is my extra petal, it's got the rough edge. I put moisture on top and bottom. I'm just going to slip that in there and then just press it in. You've got to make sure that one's really attached, because this is going to hang over the edge and you don't want it falling out during transport. That's the only problem. Okay, so that's now attached, and now that's just given that little bit of extra roundness to that edge there, which I think looks much better. And that's basically it. I'll let that sit for a little while, and then I will just give some gold touches to the edges. Let me see. So that is actually the front of the cake there. So now I think that looks better like that. And I shall take photos and show you the finished... Oh, hang on, maybe I can zoom out. Can I zoom out? No, I can only go in. But I'll take photos and then you can have a look. Okay then, bye. Okay, that's the finished cake. I just wanted to show you so you could see it all in one piece. Now I'm holding this camera by hand, so I'm going to move in, so this could get a little shaky. Not to worry. This is the finished flower. Actually, it's not. It's still got one more coat of the final gold to go on it. I'm just going to hold this one with one hand. So now you can see it sits up nicely. and round the back. You can't see any of the ball. There's no need to put any filling or ribbon or fluff or leaves. Sometimes I put one large leaf, maybe two, one that would come over here and then one at the back between there and the tag. But that's the flower. I'll show you from the top. It's quite simple. And if you're just doing it in one colour, then you don't have to faff around with all this extra petal dust at the end. But I've given it one coat, but now it's wet, so I need to let that dry, otherwise I don't want the petals to soften while I'm doing this, otherwise I'm going to turn around and it will be collapsed. The other thing you need to remember is this now needs to sit at least overnight before this cake is transported, so that these extra petals have time to dry. So I hope this little video made sense. I've now got to try and put it all together so that I can put it online, but I finally answered the questions I've been getting on how to make my peony rose. Okay, thanks a lot for watching. Bye. Okay, I have managed to find some images and I think I'm adding them to the end of the video. This is just some cakes I've done in the past with this same style flower. There's different variations in colour. One of them actually has, I think it's 2 or 3 flowers on the top of it. I think it's the one just about to come up next. It's a blue one. This one, that one's a Tiffany blue that has a couple of them. I'm doing one in a couple of weeks and it's going to have 5. It's going to be a 7-inch. So there'll be 1 center ball and then I will put 4 around the outside, so that should fill it quite nicely. So I hope you enjoy these variations. I'm not going to talk to the end, it's just about finished. Have fun cake decorating, and as I always say, anything is possible.